Mistletoe Kisses, written by TheNewYorkBrony. The streets of Canterlot bustled with people in heavy winter coats going this way and that, some carrying wrapped gifts and shopping bags for loved ones, others hurrying along on their way to get gifts for loved ones. Couples held together close as the wind whipped around them, snow falling in a soft but bountiful flurry. Friends walked together, discussing things like dinner and the like. On a particularly crowded corner stood 7 teenage girls, and of the 7, 6 were looking very annoyed at the 7th one in particular.
"Oh, you can all go on ahead to the park without me. I don't want to keep you girls waiting in this dreadful cold,"
Rarity told them, waving her alabaster hand at them dismissively as she drooled at the plush, luxurious red cashmere sweater in the glass door display they were all standing in front of. The fashionista had been oogling at the thing for 20 minutes now, and couldn't seem to decide whether or not to buy it.
"Well, when you put it that way,"
Rainbow Dash started, turning on her heel to walk down the street, dragging Applejack and Fluttershy with her by their sleeves.
"See ya!"
Hey, wait a minute! Applejack huffed in protest, her feet making a sloshing sound as Dash continued to lead her around the corner. Pinkie giggled, bouncing between the trio. Sunset turned to Twilight. "This isn't really like Heartswarming Eve at all, is it?" she teased, as they followed behind the other girls at a distance. Rarity was still in front of the store, eyeing the red sweater. "Mm-hmm," Twilight hummed in agreement, shoving her hands in her pockets.
"Not at all. This Christmas Eve isn't even the actual day, but it's still really exciting. You know how it usually isn't this commercial back home."
Sunshine shrugged. You'll get used to it. Just a warning though, just because it's the holidays doesn't mean that everyone's at their happiest." Twilight nodded.
"Fair enough."
The sun had set a long time ago, leaving the open night sky to glow with the lights from store displays, car headlights, lampposts with wreaths tied to them, and the multicolored lights hanging high above their heads. Sunset exhaled through her nose, her breath steaming up like a dragon. "You'll never see a Christmas tree as big as the one in Canterlot Park," she gushed excitedly to the fellow pony-turned-human. "Lighting was last week and the whole city was there. We would have invited you, but thought it was bad enough we were asking you to spend Christmas with us." Twilight rolled her eyes playfully.
"It's fine. I told you guys that the girls back home were more than happy to send me on my merry way. Too happy, if you ask me,"
she added, squinting in suspicion. "I'm sure they were just trying to encourage you to have some fun. We've all had a pretty rough year." She sighed, running a gloved hand through her hair. She looked up to see they had fallen behind, and the other girls were nowhere in sight. "Oh, horse apples! We lost them!" She reached into her pocket for her phone and groaned. No signal. The snow must have picked up. "Looks like we're on our own," she told Twilight, interlocking arms with her. "So, now that we can take our time getting to the center of the park, what do you want to do?" she asked, turning to the younger girl. Twilight licked a snowflake off of her cheek.
"I wonder what hot chocolate in this world tastes like. Do they have any vendors in this park?"
she wondered, looking around as they approached the entrance. She inhaled and smiled at the smell of buttery popcorn and roasted peanuts melting together to create a heavenly warm scent that made her stomach rumble. "Yeah, I think it's a little ways up, actually," Sunset responded, her boots making a crunching sound as she led the way. Twilight followed close behind, arms behind her back, watching the world around them intently. Couples snuggled up under the warm glow of the lamps. Kids ran after one another in Santa hats, and there were people standing under a strange plant. She wondered what the plant was. There seemed to be a lot of it in this park. Couples were under it almost everywhere she looked. She made a mental note to ask Sunset about it later. They found a vendor about halfway to the tree who was happy to give them a warm cup of hot cocoa. Sunset opted out of getting whipped cream, mainly because she'd seen so much of it at Pinky's house and was starting to get tired of it, while Twilight got a generous amount. Twilight took a long sip and smiled.
Yep, it's definitely better over here. It's so good.
Her smile faltered a bit when she saw that Sunset was trying to hold back a laugh behind her hand.
What? What's so funny?
You got whipped cream all over your upper lip. Sunset couldn't help but find it cute when Twilight tried to look down the barrel of her nose. Here, she said, taking a glove off. Let me help you. She ran her index finger over the length of Twilight's lip, bringing it and the glob of foaming cream hanging off to her own, sucking it clean. Realizing what just happened, she startled, looking alarmingly at Twilight. Twilight gave her a perplexed look, her lavender cheeks aglow with a slight blush.
That was interesting to watch,
she commented, bringing her cup up to her lips again, seeming to purposely make sure to leave even more whipped cream on her upper lip. Sunset had no doubt that she had done this with the intent of seeing her do something suggestive like that again. The older girl sighed and repeated the action again, her blush intensifying. Happy? She asked, wiping the saliva off of her finger onto her trench coat.
Very,
Twilight hummed, taking another sip.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, what's that strange plant above our heads?
She asked, pointing a lilac finger up at the offending object. Sunset's eyebrows furrowed, her gaze slowly following Twilight's finger. She nearly choked on her hot chocolate. Oh, horse apples! She breathed, smacking her forehead. I forgot to mention that these were all over the park and make sure to watch out for them. Twilight tilted her head.
Why? Does something bad happen if you stand under them? Is it like walking under a ladder? Is there some sort of bad luck that comes with it?
No. It's just, when you're caught under it with someone, you're supposed to kiss them, Sunset murmured, her blush intensifying.
Oh.
Twilight finally understood why it was only couples under that thing.
So, me and you are supposed to... Oh.
She twirled a strand of hair and looked down sheepishly. I mean, we don't have to. It's just some silly tradition, Sunset assured her with a slight shrug. But, I mean, if you want to do it, in the spirit of the holiday, then... Twilight's lips cut her off as the younger girl pulled her close. Sunset's cup dropped to the ground, while her eyes widened in surprise. Though after a moment she melted into the kiss, the shock wearing off. Sunset deepened the kiss, looking at Twilight's lips before breaking away to catch her breath. Their foreheads touched and Sunset smiled as their breaths intermingled, steaming up around them. She said, pulling Twilight in for another kiss. I think this might be my favorite Christmas tradition.
Me too.
They heard whistles and laughter behind them. Both girls turned around to see the rest of their friends making kissy faces. What's that word Rarity used a few weeks ago? Applejack asked with a sly smile. A smitten kitten?
Twilight, sitting in a Christmas tree. Kissint.
Pinky sang, twirling around. How long have you guys been standing there? Sunset asked, shrinking into herself.
Oh, not to know you love yourself some whipped cream-covered Twilight.
We're never going to live this down, are we? Twilight asked with a sigh, but interlocked her bare fingers with Sunset's gloved ones with a warm smile. Nope. But judging by the way y'all are looking at each other, there'll be more of that to come. Speaking of, Sunset said, pulling Twilight into yet another kiss. I'm sure you guys don't mind if we have some time alone? Applejack whistled, turning to leave. Come on, girls. Something tells me they'll be here for a while.